so big that they'll haunt you or they'll calm you. That's how you know if you got it, go and get it, get to win and not conquer. I had to go out and get it without a sponsor. Kept it real, never crooked, yeah, that's honor. Now I can go out and get it how I want to. Hashtag bless, I choose.
What is up, Rumble? What is up, YouTube and Twitter? Welcome back to the Ryan Matta Show. We had a great show planned for you today, but our guest did not show up, so ignore the thumbnails. We are going to dive into something completely different today. We're going to talk about the Bitcoin news, so if you guys could join us and smashing that like button, I greatly appreciate it. Bitcoin's currently sitting at $69,827 at current price point. Let's turn on some jams. What do you guys say? Let's get some music going on. There we go. We got some music going on in the background today to start today's show off. We're going to talk about Bitcoin mining difficulty surges. It looks like it might be pushing the halving back a couple days. Maybe that's update that website I just looked at updated wrong, but it looks like it's now back to the April 22nd that we might have the next Bitcoin halving. We got the SEC postpones decisions on a New York Stock Exchange Bitcoin options trading proposal. Not sure what's going on with that, but check this out. Breaking, this was 2 hours ago by Radar, says that Hong Kong is set to approve a spot Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF by Monday. And that would up to 25 billion in demand for Bitcoin from China is expected to be unlocked. That's pretty huge. And then we got another article over here that talks about the US government among states with the largest Bitcoin holdings, Arkham. We're going to dive into that as well. So let's start off with this first article over here. We'll get over and look at the charts and see where we think Bitcoin's headed. Think it's going up forever, Laura, but let me know what you guys think over in the live chat. So Bitcoin mining difficulty surges to new all-time highs as the halving nears. Let me zoom in on this a little bit here. As the highly anticipated Bitcoin halving event draws near, the mining landscape witnesses a significant surge in complexity, with Bitcoin mining difficulty hitting a new all-time high of 85.51 trillion per data by bitinfocharts.com. The latest adjustment, which occurred on April 10th, reflects a 3.4% increase from previous difficulty levels of 83 trillion, set on March 28th. So if you guys want to take a look at that chart, it's right here on the screen. Let me actually move this over a little bit so you guys can see it a little bit better. There you go. This is the Bitcoin network difficulty, folks. Actually, let me go and give me 1 second. Let me grab a water. I apologize. I put this show together last minute, folks. I really thought I had a guest this morning. I was rushing home. I had dropped my son off at school, so I had almost no time. That's why we started a little bit late, but we're back into it. All right, let's get this party started. Okay, so we're taking a look at this chart here on the screen. We'll jump back over to the article heading so I can scroll down here and keep reading. Analysts expect this adjustment to be the last one before the upcoming halving. The next Bitcoin mining difficulty adjustment is projected to be in around 13 days. So the difficulties levels adjust every 2 weeks. So as new miners or new farms come on and there's more people out there mining Bitcoin or the equipment gets more advanced, you don't want people being able to mine Bitcoin too fast, so the difficulty level has to adjust for it. So it looks like the next one's going to be in about 13 days. So on April 24th. Meanwhile, CoinMarketCap data indicates the Bitcoin halving is scheduled for April 19th, just 8 days away. Now, I was on a site this morning, which I think was NiceHash. Let me check that out. And I could have swore that NiceHash. Yeah, NiceHash is. So now NiceHash is saying, yesterday it was saying 8 something days. Now it's saying 9 days, 20 hours. So it looks like, according to NiceHash, based off the difficulty, which they're pretty accurate in their predictions. It's looking like it's going to be around April 22nd, not the 19th. So don't quote this article. I'm not sure if that's 100% right. You guys let me know what you guys think. So hash rate soars alongside Bitcoin mining difficulty. Bitcoin mining difficulty serves as a critical or a crucial metric measuring the level of effort required to mine new blocks or find blocks with hashes within the target range as instructed by Bitcoin's proof of work POW consensus mechanism. The adjustment occurring roughly every 2016 blocks or 2 weeks. aims to maintain a target block time of 10 minutes. Now, the surge in mining difficulty is closely correlated with the Bitcoin blockchain hash rate, representing miners' computational power in generating new blocks and minting new blocks. Notably, the hash rate has experienced a substantial increase, soaring from around 619 equihashes per second, or EH/s, on Monday or on March 28th to 696 equihashes on April 10th. That's huge. Now, despite the difficulty reaching a new all-time high, the hash rate previously peaked at 727.9 equihashes on March 24th, according to BitInfo charts. We can pull that chart up here as well and take a look at it. You can see the difficulty levels. The Bitcoin hash rate over here, 750 at that level. We got just above it right over here on whatever March 24th or whatever date that was. So it's looking like it's getting ready to head up and put in a new all-time high as well. Normally when difficulty goes up, price goes up. So a difficult time ahead. Notably, analysis anticipate a significant impact on mining operations post-halving, critical potential efficiency reductions. On February, reported by Galaxy Research, speculates that post-halving around 15 to 20% of Bitcoin's current hash rate coming from 8 types of applications, specific integration circuits, ASIC miner modules, may go offline as miners deactivate rigs due to diminished profitability. Now, this is where I don't get. Like, this is where I'm like, okay, well, if these miners were mining and they were profitable at 15,000 and 20,000, and now price is 70,000, I mean, price is already over doubled. So even if the supply is cut in half, if they were still profitable then, I would assume that they would still be profitable now, but I'm probably not seeing something. Similarly, a report from Bitfinex notes that the challenges independent miners can face with the upcoming halving. It illustrates how Wall Street investment has reshaped Bitcoin mining incentives for favoring corporate profitability over decentralized ideals. With the 2024 halving looming, independent miners face difficulties in negotiating energy deals or upgrading equipment. Bitfinex underscores the importance of innovative and collaborations for independent miners to thrive. Now, Bitcoin price recovers after Biden's comments, right? Now, meanwhile, Bitcoin experienced a slight recovery following remarks by the U.S. President Joe Biden hinting at a potential rate cut this year. Biden's comments followed the release of March's Consumer Price Index CPI report, which indicates inflation is holding strong at 3.5%. During a press conference in Japan, the U.S. president stated, "I do stand by my predictions that before this year is out, there'll be rate cuts." And I wonder how many stutters they cut out of this. "This may delay it a month or so. I'm not sure of that. We don't know what the Fed is going to do for certain, but look, we have dramatically reduced inflation from 9% down to 3%. Yeah, the inflation you created, Joe. We're so proud of you. You let criminals out in the street and then you increase the amount of criminals you arrest. Congratulations, Joe. Maybe you should have just kept them in jail the first time, you schmuck." The market responds positively. Bitcoin's price is trading around 70,500 at the time of writing, marking a 2% increase following a brief dip post CPI report, according to data from TradingView. And that's all that we got on that article. We can take a look and swing over here too. Yesterday we were talking about the amount of Bitcoin that was remaining on exchanges, and it was 1.744 million. And we can take a look at it. We can refresh this page and see what we're looking at over here. But we're already down to 1743. So let me actually refresh this page and then go back to this previous one and see what we're sitting at. 1739. The amount of Bitcoin that's leaving exchanges is like, I mean, it just keeps going down. People are talking about that are really big in traditional markets are talking about, how would the political landscape look, or how would the landscape for Bitcoin look, if the stock market started to implode and started to collapse. And I'm just like, well, where are people going to go? Like, what are people going to do? Start moving all of their Bitcoin back on exchanges and start selling all their Bitcoin like right after a halving or before a halving? It just doesn't make sense, folks. I think Bitcoin's going up forever. I think it's just a matter of time before they can't manipulate price anymore and we straight break out. I'm just dying for one of these Saudi princes or some big player to step in here like Elon Musk again and go, yep, you know what? We're going to buy another $1 billion. We're going to add $1 billion worth of Bitcoin to our balance sheet to protect us from, the most corrupt government in the history of the world. Let's swing over to Bitcoin news where we pick up our next article. The SEC postpones decisions on New York Bitcoin options trading proposal. So the SEC delays crucial decisions on Bitcoin options trading for spot ETFs, impacting investors and the digital asset market. Of course, Gary Gensler would do something like this. The Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, in the United States has hit the brakes on a crucial decision regarding the introduction of option trading for spot Bitcoin exchange-traded funds, ETFs. This delay could have significant impacts for investors in the digital asset market as a whole. Bitcoin option trading, SEC's decision delayed. The SEC delayed the decision on whether to allow the New York Stock Exchange to offer options for trading on spot Bitcoin. The delay extends the period for deciding on a proposal to permit the listing and trading of the options on ETFs like Bitwise Bitcoin ETFs, BITB, and Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. The SEC mentions in the filing that it finds it appropriate to designate a longer period to thoroughly consider the proposed rule change. The New York Stock Exchange initiated a rule change application on February 8th, documented in the Federal Register, sparking a 45-day comment period ending on April 14th, which is in 2 days. The SEC said in the main filing, the commission finds it appropriate to designate a longer period within which to take action on the proposed rule change. Man, this guy couldn't try to destroy the wealth of this nation any faster. This delay could significantly impact option trading on various Bitcoin ETFs listed on the New York Stock Exchange. Now, investors used options to enter contracts, allowing them to buy or sell assets at a specific price over a period. With the surge in demand for Bitcoin investment products, the approval of options on spot Bitcoin ETF could further enhance market participation and liquidity. Now, Grayscale CEO pleaded to the SEC, Michael Sofison, I can't really say his name, the SEC of Grayscale, one of the major players in the Bitcoin investment space, urged the SEC to approve the rule change. In a public comment, Michael emphasized the importance of equal treatment on spot and future Bitcoin-based ETFs. He argued that the approval of an options for spot Bitcoin ETFs would contribute to the development of a robust and healthy market. I just don't get it. He said, our argument is straightforward. If investing in options for shares of products, holding derivatives of an asset is acceptable for investors, investing in options for shares of products holding the asset itself should be as well. Last month, Grayscale Investments highlighted the SEC's swift endorsement of options on Bitcoin future ETFs. Since spot commodity products such as GBTC are registered under the Securities Act of 1933, they require individual SEC scrutiny. Grayscale added, the natural next step is the approval of options on spot Bitcoin ETFs. We believe the commission should update its outdated approach to approve options on spot commodities based on ETPs that are structured identically to the already approved ETPs. I couldn't agree more. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? I want to jump over here and throw this article up by Thomas at Hey Apollo. You guys know Thomas. He's been on the show already. He says, Satoshi took a theoretical concept of perfect money and programmed it into existence. This is why we're 15 years in and Bitcoin is at a new all-time high in every single fiat currency. Deflationary money designed to increase in value forever. So I want to play this clip here. And you can see this is Bitcoin putting in new all-time highs in every single currency around the world, which is pretty crazy to think about. And you can see some countries where Bitcoin put in a new all-time high well ahead of schedule, well ahead of what it did in the US dollar. I think the US dollar was one of the last countries to put in a new all-time high, if I'm not mistaken. That's pretty wild, isn't it? Pretty crazy, folks. If you guys are just joining us, do me a huge solid. Smash that like button. Let's jump over here to the live chat. I don't have anything set up. Sorry, I was scrambling to run behind today. Really last minute, honestly. I put this stream together in about 2 seconds. I thought we were doing an interview today, so I wasn't too prepped. PDX Leroy, Kimmy B, good to see you guys over here. Give me 1 second. I'll pull the live chat up and we'll jump over here and say what up to everybody. Hopefully you guys are having a great morning. How's everybody doing? Anybody stacking any Bitcoin lately? If so, how much Bitcoin are you stacking? What are you guys holding on to? Does anybody hit any goals with how many Bitcoin you've been stacking? I know a lot of people are trying to get to 0.1 Bitcoin, 0.2 Bitcoin, a whole Bitcoin. Is anybody hitting those accomplishments or any of those goals? Good to see you, PDX Leroy. What else we got over here? We got Home Skillet. Man, that's crazy. I don't know, man. Like at some point, price just has to skyrocket. When we run out of Bitcoin, there's only one option, and it goes up forever. I mean, I'm surprised that we basically came down, you know, basically another 100,000 Bitcoin off exchange, and price hasn't really shot up yet, which I thought we were going to see. I definitely thought we were going to see that. And close out these windows and get up to a new one. Yeah, over here, I don't know, man. It's kind of bizarre. Like just seeing that there's like, think about that. Like how many millionaires there are in the United States and how much these millionaires like to flex. And what's crazy to think about that is like, there's some of these people, there's not really anything that they can't buy. Like just think that through. Like when you get that rich, there is literally nothing you can't buy. And we're going to get to a point, there's only 21 million Bitcoin. So, and 3 million are lost. And that's at the very minimum, 3 million are lost. So you literally get, for the first time in all of human history, like there will become a point where no matter how bad you want to buy one whole Bitcoin, you won't be able to. So think about the game theory on that. When you're trying to flex and you're trying to be a baller and you got a sports car and you got a Bugatti, you got a house and you got all this, but you don't have one Bitcoin. It's raining today everywhere, it seems like. Is this the start of our solar eclipse apocalypse? That was supposed to come post solar eclipse. People ask, what are we afraid of, man? We ain't afraid of anything. We survived the 2024. We survived the 2024 solar eclipse. We can survive anything. We survived 3 years of Joe Biden as president. So I mean, our country's got to be hella tough, if you ask me. So, what do you guys think? Sounds like big investors are coming in. Bam, Bitcoin is bought up. I agree. I think that you're going to start to see. You're not just going to start to see. We're already seeing it. Like there are nation states, like Saudi princes, that are like, yeah, I want 1 million Bitcoin. So, I mean, there's only 1.7 million. I just can't think of that. Like, talked about it yesterday a lot. Like Gen Z, how do you convince Gen Z that they should go put money into the stock market? I read an article yesterday. Let me see if I still have that screenshot over here. Yeah, here it is. I do. Check this out. So the average Gen Zer started saving for retirement 15 years earlier than baby boomers. It still may not be enough. Like, so you mean to tell me that you're going to convince an entire generation of Gen Z that they have to enter the workforce full time by 21? Like you need to get out of high school, you need to go right to college, and you probably need to work your way through college and pay off your student loans, because graduating with student loans and that much debt's not really an option anymore. So you basically need to turn 18, you need to get a full-time job, then you need to go to school full-time, which means you have no time to actually enjoy life. And then the second you graduate with this degree, you need to immediately get a job. And then you need to immediately start putting over 4%, at least probably 8 to 10% of your paycheck every month. And then you got to figure your government's taking 53% of it. And that's just going to continue to go up. So soon it's going to be 60%. So with the remaining 40% that you have left, you need to take 10% of that and you need to put it into a 401k. And no matter how long you work, you're never going to be able to retire. That's what we're telling Gen Z. So like, yeah, the depression rate's at an all-time high. These people have no hope. There's no hope for a future. There's no hope for becoming a homeowner. You just get deeper and deeper and deeper in debt. Or you could take 2 years off and you could get a skill and you could go be an apprentice, whether that's to be a laborer, a welder, a bricklayer, a carpenter, a finished carpenter. It doesn't matter what skilled trade you want. Go build something. Because for the next, probably 5 to 10 years, humans will still be building houses. Until we can train robots on how to build your house for you, then I think things get a lot cheaper. But we're probably not far away. I mean, we're 3D printing houses back in the 1940s. And like we're acting like it's a new technology, but it's not. Like it's just the same technology repackaged and rebranded. So I don't know. I just don't know how you convince an entire generation of Gen Zs to go put money into a 401k and maybe keep your head above water. Or you can buy this thing for Bitcoin. You can go get that skilled trade job, work for 2 years, put every penny, because you're going to stay living at home, put every penny you save into Bitcoin for 2 years and change the course of your history for your family for generations, forever. Because like people are talking about, like you can buy right now, 5 million Satoshis are about $4,000, $5,000, give or take. So you can get roughly 5 million Satoshis for about $5,000 right now. 5 million Satoshis are going to be probably equivalent to having like $5 million in 10 years from now, as we watch every fiat currency collapse into Bitcoin. And then you see players like China starting to step in. That's going to be huge. You know, Hong Kong is set to approve a spot Bitcoin ETF. We can actually jump over and take a look at the charts as well and see how gold's doing, see how equities are doing, see how the traditional markets are doing. Let's do that right now. Let me, give me 1 second. Let me throw my photo up here on the top of the screen. I don't know why I took it off. There we go. So taking a look at Bitcoin, which is cool, right? We're sitting at this top of this Bollinger Band. And if you've seen other times when we kind of get up here and we start riding that upper Bollinger Band and then it just breaks out, I think everybody's pretty much under the same assumption. There's such a finite supply of Bitcoin. And these players like BlackRock, Grayscale, Bitwise, I mean, they're buying so much Bitcoin, it's not even funny. And I think we break out here. I think the next leg up is taking us up at least up to like the 80 or 85 range. And once it starts to run, and this is where I say it's Bitcoin is going to run either way. So I just don't see them. I just don't see them not pumping this market, honestly. I don't see them not pumping traditional markets because I don't see them letting Bitcoin separate from traditional financial systems and not wanting to run. But it does look like on the daily time frame for the, so as far as the S&P 500, does look like you're coming down. Now, we did get a false breakout over here on our Elliott Wave stochastic. Let's take a look at the dollar. Dollar's pumping, which if you guys watched my interview with Craig, that's exactly what he said was going to happen. I think he's targeting the next range is up here at like $1.07. So the dollar's strengthening, but the dollar's strengthening because it's relative to other currencies. So it's not necessarily that like the dollar is more healthy. It's just compared to a basket of shit other currencies that it's the best. It's the it's the fastest horse at the glue factory, basically, as Greg Foss likes to say. I can't ever see anybody actually running back to the US dollar. Even when Trump gets back into office, I just can't see, you know, the US dollar being the commodity that everybody wants to go to, or traditional markets or 401ks. I just think it's all rigged. We take a look at the Dow. Dow seems like it's been hanging on today. It's sitting at that halfway point of the Bollinger Bands. Take a look at the moving averages. I don't know why I can never get my moving averages to come on these assets. Oh, that's why I need to turn off one of my indicators. There we go. All right, we got our moving averages on. Bitcoin's still sitting above the 50-day on the daily time frame. And we can see we've came down and confirmed support on that 50-day moving average. You know what somebody else was showing me? They were showing me the 300-day moving average, which I thought, actually, I think it was the 350-day moving average. So let's turn that on. Where was that article at? I think I read that on Cointelegraph today. Yeah, here it is. Let me pull up this article here for you guys. So BTC price inches from new surge at the 71K Bitcoin Pi cycle top metric. So we'll talk about what this is all about. Let me zoom in on this a little bit. So Bitcoin is eyeing a classic breakout move that precedes both its 2017 and 2021 all-time high. In an April 12 X post, popular trader Jelly flagged a key crossover due on Bitcoin's Pi cycle top indicator. So Bitcoin's Pi cycle top breakout tantalizing close. Pi cycle top is a classic Bitcoin bull market observational tool consisting of two moving averages. It has consistently delivered macro top signals for BTC price action. Now, Jelly notes price is coiling beneath the indicator's long-time trend line at the 2x multiplier on the 350-day moving average, currently at $76,000 per data on-chain analysis from Glassnode. Now, once Bitcoin breaks the Pi cycle moving average, all bets are off, he wrote in accompanying commentary. It's currently consolidating right below it, just like it did in 2020. And you guys can see that here on the chart as well. Now, the Pi cycle top effectively measures the moving averages within Bitcoin's short-term 111-day counterpart. Macro tops come when the latter crosses the former. And it's so funny, like every bull run, we have we have different moving averages that we're using. Like it's either the golden cross, which is like the 50-day and the 200-day, or it's the death cross where they cross back over. And now we have this Pi cycle thing that's the 350-day moving average with the 111-day moving average, which is pretty funny. So BTC price consolidates well within historical norms. As Cointelegraph continues to report, BTC USDT has spent multiple weeks consolidating around the previous all-time high of 69,000 set in November of 2021. While such price action has unnerved some market participants, others, including Jelly, see it as a healthy behavior around such a critical psychological line in the sand. In both 2017, this is the cool part, in both 2017 and 2020, Bitcoin made similar moves, consolidating at all-time highs for 50 days, and in 2021 days, respectively. Currently, we're sitting at a 37 days of consolidation around the previous all-time high. Fellow trader Dan Crypto Trades wrote in a part of a recent X post on the topic. And you can see this chart here, which is pretty cool. I was looking at this morning. Oh, I zoomed in too much. So you can see back here in 2013, when we approached the previous all-time high, we consolidated there, and then price just took off to the upside. And then you can see the 2017 all-time high. We consolidated over here. We took off, put in a new all-time high. And now we're kind of sitting over here in 2021 at the previous all-time high right before a halving, and with the lowest amount of Bitcoin on exchanges that we've had in a very, very long time. So that's going to be pretty interesting to see how that one plays out. We can jump over here and take a look at this last article. Actually, I think I had one more set up for you guys. Yeah, I want to do this one as well. Give me 1 second. Let me throw a screenshot up here for you guys. I want to talk about the supply shock, which is what PDX Leroy was talking about a second ago. Head over to bitcoinnews.com. Supply shocks. Bitcoin demand surpasses insurance at unprecedented pace. So I got to zoom in on all these. I have to zoom out to take screenshots and zoom back in to pull them up here on the screen. As the highly anticipated Bitcoin halving event approaches, the market is abuzz with excitement. A recent report indicates a significant surge in demand for Bitcoin, potentially signaling a supply shock that could drive price higher in the near future. Demand outpaces miner insurance. According to data from CryptoQuant, demand for Bitcoin for long-term holders, often referred to as hodlers, has surpassed miner insurance for the first time in history. This unprecedented phenomenon suggests a notable shift in Bitcoin supply-demand dynamics. Analysts note that the cohort of long-term hodlers is adding around 200,000 Bitcoin per month, far exceeding the monthly insurance of approximately 28,000 Bitcoin. That's nuts, dude. Is that what they're saying? That we're taking 200,000 Bitcoin off exchange every month? Yeah, Mike, they probably sold on us. Crypto quant head of research, Giulio Monaro, emphasizes the significance of this trend, stating demand for the flagship digital asset has become more important than supply. Giulio Monaro emphasizes the significance of this trend, stating that demand for the flagship digital asset has become more important than supply. That's crazy. Check out this chart that she's showing over here. Man, I'm trying so hard to get so many people to stack Bitcoin for the first time. Because every time you get somebody to stack Bitcoin at a price level, like say 70,000, and then it goes to 80, every person that bought it at 70,000 becomes a champion for Bitcoin. It's like all they want to talk about. It's all they want to do. It's all they want to study. And then it goes up to the next level and it sits there. And they're trying to orange pill as many of their friends as humanly possible while trying to add more Bitcoin to their portfolio. And it goes up and up and up. And next thing you know, everybody that's ever bought into Bitcoin is in the profit. And they're actually holding an asset that they believe in. And their values and incentives align with everybody else's. And it's like what I think the politicians that fear the most is us really realizing how much we have in common. And if we just have one thing in common that completely strips away all their power, it's Bitcoin. So the more people that we get into Bitcoin, the more power we take away from these people, the less power they have over us. And the better opportunity we have to survive and fight what's coming. So interestingly, the data reveals that known exchange addresses now hold only 9.8% of Bitcoin's total circulating supply, indicating a decline in supply on exchanges as investors adopt a long-term hodling strategy. Implicating of decreasing exchange reserves. The diminishing supply of Bitcoin on exchange could potentially lead to a supply shock if demand were to suddenly surge. A supply shock occurs when the readily available supply of an asset on exchanges is abruptly drops while demand increases. This buying pressure could drive price higher, particularly as short sellers are forced to cover their positions to avoid liquidations. Which means that, like, as price goes up, anybody that's been shorting Bitcoin, a lot of people have at the $70,000 mark. If they're shorting it, right, which I think is what we should call out Peter Schiff on. Like, Peter Schiff, if you're so confident on Bitcoin, how much money have you made shorting it? You should be a billionaire by now, because you should be like the king at shorting Bitcoin. You should be putting your entire business on a nice big short on Bitcoin if you're so confident that it's going to zero. But he never does, right? Supply shocks, halving events, and supply reduction. Now, the impending Bitcoin halving event adds another layer of significance to the current market dynamics. Scheduled to occur on April 20th, the halving will cut the Coinbase reward miners received per block found on the network in half, reducing it to 3.125 Bitcoin. This halving programmed into Bitcoin's monetary policy to occur every 210,000 blocks, or approximately every 4 years, effectively halves the supply of newly minted Bitcoin entering the market. Opinions among digital asset executives vary regarding the potential impact of the halving event. Now, Arthur Haynes, former head of BitMEX, anticipates price declines before and after the halving, setting limited dollar liquidity during this period. However, Marathon CEO Fred Thiesel suggests that the halving impacts may already be priced in, pointing to a successful spot exchange traded funds, the ETF's approval, as evidence. Now, historical trends and future outlooks. So actually, I throw this up in the chart so as you guys, as I'm reading it, you guys can actually see it here. So historical trends and future outlooks. Historical data on previous halving events provides insight into potential market trends. In each instance of the historical halving, Bitcoin's price have surged, reaching higher highs and lower lows. Analysis emphasized the importance of considering supply and demand dynamics in evaluating Bitcoin's performance. So it looks like Epoch 1 Genesis, the first halving, Looks like it shot up from what, like 9 cents all the way to $31.25, and then came all the way back down to what looks like almost a couple dollars. And then in the second halving, right, we shot all the way up from, looks like a couple dollars, all the way up to $1,250, and then all the way back down to as low as $250. And the next one we shot up to almost 20,000, and then we shot down to about 3,400. And then in, what is the next one? We went up to 60,000, wasn't it? 69,000. And we came all the way back down to below. And that was the first time that Bitcoin ever put in a new all-time high and then came back down as low as its previous all-time high. Like over here, when we came back down to 100 or something, it didn't come back down below 31.25. And then the next one, we went up to 20,000, and we never came back down below the 1,000, 250 mark. We stopped at like 3,400. But this time we went up to 69,000, and then we came back down to below 20,000. We came back down to 16,500 or whatever it is. So that was the first time that ever happened. But again, we had Sam Bankman-Fried, FTX, and all the crooks basically trying to steal all of our Bitcoin. So will that happen again? I don't know. Bitcoin, anything's possible, but I think we're going up, and we're going up big time. So as Bitcoin halving event approaches, the market is witnessing a surge in demand, potentially signaling a supply shock that could drive prices higher. Now, with demand outpacing miner insurance, where did I go there? A supply shock could drive price higher and higher. With demand outpacing miner insurance and decreasing exchange reserves, market dynamics suggest a bullish outlook for Bitcoin in the near future as investors eagerly await the halving event. All signs point to a potential price rally ahead. I think that's guaranteed. That's no brainer. Let's check out this article over here on Cointelegraph, which actually talks about, I need to go back to their main page, which is the US government being one of the biggest holders of Bitcoin. Which is pretty funny considering what they do to sell the Silk Road Bitcoin. It's so fucked up. Our government's so corrupt. Like, it's beyond corrupt. So, according to Arkham, the US government holds 212,847 Bitcoin, while the Treasury of the UK and Germany holds about 61,000 and 49,000 Bitcoin in perspective. Now, the United States government is one of the biggest holders, cryptocurrency holders, alongside other global states like the United Kingdom and Germany, according to data from Arkham. Arkham, a crypto intelligence platform focused on de-anonymizing entities on the blockchain network, has introduced a dashboard featuring the governments with the largest crypto holdings. Announcing the news on April 12th, Arkham said that the United States, the United Kingdom, and Germany are some of the largest countries in terms of crypto holdings. With the new Arkham tracking tool, individuals can observe the real-time balance and transaction history for cryptocurrencies held by governments. Now, according to the data, the United States government is the biggest Bitcoin BTC whale among global states tracked by Arkham, holding as much as 212 Bitcoin at the time of writing, worth around $15 billion. And this is so funny when people that like try to convince me that the CCP is holding Bitcoin and the CCP holds half of all the Bitcoin. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, we have on-chain data. We can tell you exactly who owns what, how much they own, blows my mind. I like the preconceived notion that people, like, they just say shit that's not true. And then they expect, like, I don't know, people believe it and they run with it and they don't buy Bitcoin because they think it's like controlled by the CCP. And it's like, dude, it's open source software. What don't you get? Like, do you want to have these conversations? No, we don't want to have these conversations. Okay, so you just want to sound like a Democrat then. I got it. In addition, BTC, the US government holds around $200 million in other cryptocurrencies like ETH, as well as major stablecoins like USDC and Tether. Lots of USDC. Who do you think backs USDC? Why do you think I'd say that USDC should be the last stablecoin that you use? The United States government, ranked second, holds 61,245 Bitcoin at the time of writing, worth around $4.5 billion. Now, according to Arkham data, the German government holds around 49,000, which is equivalent to roughly $3.5 billion at the time of writing. Now, the government of El Salvador, the first country to make Bitcoin legal tender in September of 2021, holds significantly less Bitcoin than these other countries tracked by Arkham. According to data, the Salvadorian government holds 5,717 BTC worth 405 million at the time of writing. That's huge considering the size of El Salvador versus the size of the United States. I mean, that's not even comparison. The fact that their country has a net worth of 405 million, that's pretty big. You know, everything else in the Americas is a lie. It's all fake. So, in my personal opinion, the amount of the Bitcoin that the United States government holds, that's the only thing they're worth. Now, the release of Arcam's dashboard of top governments by Bitcoin holding markets marks an important milestone in transparency of cryptocurrency assets held or owned by whales like country states. At the same time, it's been a while since the public found out about massive BTC holdings by the United States government. The dashboard also points out the fact that the US continued to accumulate Bitcoin in the past few years. Since early 2023, the US government has added at least 5,000 BTC based on Arcam's data and previous reports. A significant part of the US government Bitcoin holding comes from a confiscations related to the dark web market Silk Road. It's hacker Jimmy Zong, as well as hackers of other crypto exchanges Bitfinex. So that's pretty cool. I wonder where is this dashboard at? How do we find this dashboard? I wonder if there's a link here for this dashboard. No, I'm not seeing anything over here for it. If I find it, I'll share it out over on Twitter for you guys. Oh, I didn't know we could even listen to these articles. Oh, that's cool. Let's try one of these out. Oh, we're going on that 1 hour mark almost. Close. That's because the Silk Road for sure. That's for sure. Bitcoin returns are too significant to ignore for retirement plans, which I think is what we're gonna really, really see here coming up. Let me see if I can get that to play here. Give me 1 second. Let's try this out. I don't know if it's going to echo, so you guys tell me if this echoes or not. Just give me 1 second to get it right.
Truly global. When the United States Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, makes a decision about exchange-traded funds, ETFs, in New York, that immediately affects the price of Bitcoin, BTC, in Singapore. And when Japan's massive government pension investment fund, GPIF, announced in March that it is exploring a new diversification strategy, one that possibly includes Bitcoin, this has reverberations not just in East Asia but all over the world. It has particular resonance because Japan is an advanced, highly regulated economy that isn't likely to put its workers' retirement savings at risk, especially in the GPIF, which is the world's largest public pension plan with a $1.5 trillion investment portfolio. It also raises questions: aren't there obstacles to be overcome before these conservative institutional investors embrace Bitcoin, including BTC's well-documented volatility? Will the GPIF's announcement have an impact outside Japan? If so, will the effect be immediate or only evident over time? And what about the new spot market Bitcoin ETFs launched in January to so much fanfare and apparent success? The extent that even pension funds may soon be using Bitcoin to diversify their investment portfolios? So, what did market observers say last week about this developing trend, if that is even what it is? Bitcoin has a place at the table. It's huge news as GPIF is one of the largest sovereign wealth funds in the world. What they invest in tends to move markets, Lucas Keeley, chief investment officer at Yield App, told Cointelegraph. On the one hand, GPIF's statement doesn't matter at all, Matthew Hogan, chief investment officer at Bitwise Asset Management, told Cointelegraph. The fund is just looking for basic information on a wide variety of non-traditional investments, such as farmland, forests, gold and Bitcoin. On the other hand, Peef's statement says something really significant, Hogan continued. Bitcoin now has a place at the table alongside gold, farmland, and other alternative assets. Back up 5 years ago, and there is no chance that Bitcoin would even make the first cut for consideration. That's big progress. Peef isn't alone. In the United States, a bill was recently introduced in Arizona's state legislature encouraging the Arizona State Retirement System and the Public Safety Personnel Retirement System to explore investing in digital assets and Bitcoin ETFs. With Bitcoin's market cap surpassing $1 trillion and growing institutional adoption, including approval for several Bitcoin ETFs by the SEC, the Chamber of Digital Commerce, a crypto and blockchain advocacy group, wrote in support of the Arizona initiative, the potential for portfolio diversification and returns is too significant to ignore. Bitcoin market capitalization blew past $1 trillion earlier this year. Source: Coin, Market, Cap. Elsewhere, in November 2023, South Korea's National Pension Service announced the purchase of over 280,000 shares of COINBASE, the Nasdaq-listed cryptocurrency exchange. The government pension investment fund considering the inclusion of Bitcoin in its investment portfolio may indeed seem surprising at first glance, considering that pension funds are often characterized as conservative investors, Cyril Pipod, chief product officer at Script, a Swiss financial services firm specializing in crypto assets, told Cointelegraph. But it isn't entirely unexpected for 3 reasons. Recent, Solana meme Coin frenzy raises questions about crypto utility, reputation. First, endowments at prestigious, educational, institutions such as Harvard, Yale, Stanford and MIT have all invested in crypto assets and Bitcoin starting at least in 2018, said Pipewad. University endowments are like pension funds in the sense that both prioritize capital preservation and tend to avoid volatile investments like cryptocurrencies. A second reason is Japan's persistent low-yield environment, including an 8-year period of negative interest rates that only ended recently. This has pushed Japan to explore alternative investment opportunities. Pipon added. With demographic shifts and increasing longevity, Peef may be seeking higher-performing assets to meet their long-term obligations.
All right, folks, I couldn't do it any longer. I couldn't take it. Sorry. No, I can't do that. It's too hard to make it out. I can't wait till AI gets really good and we can actually like play those out and it actually sounds like a normal person reading, because I don't think we're far away from it. But you guys get the idea. Everybody's plowing into Bitcoin. It doesn't really matter what the United States does anymore. I don't know if you've seen Cynthia Lumen's interview where she was sitting on stage with the CEO of BlackRock. It was pretty interesting. They had a lot of good points. Maybe we'll play some of that on Monday, folks. That is a wrap over here on the Ryan Matta Show. Thank you guys for sticking with us. Thank you guys for smashing that like button. Sorry, our guest did not show up today. We had a good interview planned. I thought we were going to talk about the power laws of Bitcoin and Plan G, as they call it. But unfortunately, our guest did not show up. So greatly appreciate you guys for sticking with us, smashing that like button. Hopefully you guys have a fantastic weekend. And I'll see you guys over on LFA TV today at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. God bless you guys.
Run.